The wide world of gaming is weird, and every month GameRanks puts together a collection of the weirdest. Some of it's cool, some of it's lame, plenty of it we point and laugh about. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the weird gaming stories of August 2024. Starting off at number 10, Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that's starting to show its age. It's almost 4 years old at this point, hard to believe but true. But you wouldn't know it from mods like this, Dreampunk 2.0 from Next Gen Dreams, a new mod that claims to do nothing less than make Cyberpunk 2077 hyper-realistic, and if the trailer they put out for it is anything to go on, they have absolutely succeeded. Getting the mod working is also pretty straightforward. You just dump a few files in the root folder, install the newest version of Reshade, and then make sure everything's configured properly. To the mod maker's credit, they gave clear and detailed instructions on how to get Dreampunk 2.0 working, and I found getting everything configured to be pretty painless. No major issues on my part, always like that. Now, to get the most out of it, you'll need a few more mods, which can easily be added using the Nexus Vortex mod loader, and if you want to make the game look anything close to that trailer, then just using the base mod isn't quite enough. You'll want to get at least a 4K texture pack to go with it at the bare minimum. To get the most out of this mod, you need a pretty powerful PC as well, which should not really come as a surprise. A 4090 isn't required to run the mod. The real issues come from the in-game settings. To get anywhere close to the photorealism this mod is meant to offer, you gotta crank up the in-game settings all the way to the max. Path tracing alone is gonna kill at least 30-40 frames per second, and running everything on Ultra on 4K is gonna heat things up no matter how powerful your graphics card is. And number 9, I guess Pokemon are teaching people how to not die on airplanes if they crash. Japanese airline ANA has created a couple of safety videos. The first one I'm not really sure is a safety video. It just seems to be a woman and Pikachu getting off of a plane. Pikachu gets separated and they get reunited. I'm not 100% sure what the point of that one is. But I think the more fun one is the more traditional airplane safety video, because it's riddled with Pokemon. I don't know why it's funny, but it's funny to me to watch all of these beloved characters that don't speak except for like their name. They can say their name. That's what they do. I think it's really funny watching them brace for impact. We're all gonna die! Pikachu! That's all I can think of when I see this. Some crazy guy screaming his head off. I mean, is it that crazy that he's screaming that if he's in a plane that's going down? But anyway, effective tactic? I don't know. You can't really tell until a plane goes down and more Pokemon fans are saved than other people. But I'm not gonna lie, I rarely pay attention to the safety stuff at the beginning of a flight. I've seen it enough times, I know it. But if it had Pokemon in it, it'd be hard to look away, even if it's just because it's weird. At number 8, the Sony PS5 Pro was apparently an open secret at Gamescom. Lots of developers changing plans and doing things because the impending release and or announcement and or whatever. I don't know, I guess it's kind of weird to me that they're even bothering keeping it a secret still. After the success of the PS4 Pro, the console refreshes halfway through a generation seemed like a good idea. One developer, acting very secretive and hush-hush, under condition of anonymity, told Multiplayer, an Italian gaming website, that they delayed their game because of the upcoming launch of the PS5 Pro. I don't find that too weird. All I find weird is that we have no idea when or how long. I mean, the developer told the magazine they expected that Unreal Engine 5 is going to run much better. Recent rumors have indicated much higher clock speeds, perhaps even 45% faster. Apparently, it's going to handle ray tracing like 2 to 3 times better. All stuff that we very much want. Perhaps the nicest thing is the PS5 Pro is going to have some kind of AI technology that upscales, like DLSS, but built into the hardware. They're calling it, at least in these rumors, the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, PSSR. Yes, the PlayStation Soviet Republic. I don't know if that'll be the final name. If it is, kudos. That's a silly thing to do. At number 7, Christopher Judge sort of judged an Amazon executive for saying we don't really have acting in video games in defending AI. And I kind of hate these arguments a lot because I am not against AI. I think that AI is a good thing when used responsibly. And I actually don't think the comment the Amazon executive made was just like saying there's no voice acting in games, which is what Christopher Judge was saying. So here, Christoph Hartmann, the Amazon Games CEO, said he didn't really want to take away jobs with AI. He was more thinking about how they can implement it to streamline things and make it so that making a game doesn't take 5 years. I'll read you the quote. "When we talk about AI, first of all, hopefully it will help us have new gameplay ideas, which has nothing to do with taking work away from anyone. And especially for games, we don't really have acting. The majority of our team sits in programming, and that's not going to go away because that's all about innovation." So let's talk about what exactly that is fully in context. He says, we don't really have acting. The majority of the team sits in programming. What he's saying is that on Amazon staff, they don't retain actors. But of course, AI is always a huge controversy and people are looking for ways to argue about it. Now, I don't want to say that AI isn't a threat to actors in certain cases. I don't want to say that it is unreasonable for actors to be striking and attempting to get protections in that situation. I don't want to say any of that because I don't think it. But to me, this seems like another one of those stupid controversies in which, because of the way something was represented, the implications of it go beyond what the person who said it actually meant. I think if we could have much more rational conversations about AI, that would be way better. But also, that would probably be pretty weird too. At number 6, Jason Schreier appearing on Friends Per Second, the podcast featuring somebody. I don't know. Who's that guy? Jason is a Bloomberg reporter and has a pretty fair amount of insight. He was actually talking about the Bungie layoffs and that type of stuff, but he ended up talking about Naughty Dog and their cancellation of The Last of Us. Apparently, that had been in development for 4 years. And fortunately, Naughty Dog was able to either convince Sony or do something. I don't really know how they got it canceled. It's probably a really good idea to have gotten it canceled, though. Do we need a live service Last of Us that doesn't do Last of Us as well as Last of Us? No, absolutely not. Apparently there were consequences behind the scenes, but I don't know. All the high-profile backfires of live service stuff, I think, might be changing the tide. It might be making these large corporations realize, hey, let's maybe have our developers that are good at making normal games make normal games. Which would be weird, because that would imply that big companies learned their lessons, which is abnormal. At number 5, Tim Sweeney of Epic Games has said that the exclusivity deals where they nailed down developers with an absolute ton of money were not good investments. They did not bring people to Epic Games. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you a good example. I love Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2 is one of the best games of the last few years. I did download Epic to play it, and I didn't use Epic for anything else. There's been like a couple of other games I've done that with. But when I'm done with the game, I literally, forget I have Epic Game Store. Or I even delete it. I've deleted it before. So I guess maybe that is somewhat expected, though. Maybe not weird. But it came with a tinge of good news when Tim Sweeney said, the Epic Game Store's free games program has been just magical. He went into detail. I'll just quote him here. Giving away free games seems counterintuitive as a strategy, but companies spend money to acquire users into games. For about a quarter of the price it costs to acquire users through Facebook ads or Google search ads, we can pay a game developer a lot of money for the right to distribute their game to our users, and we can bring new users to the Epic Game Store at a very economical rate. You might think that this would hurt the sales prospects of games on the Epic Game Store, but developers who give away free games actually see an upsurge in the sale of their paid games on the store just because their free game raises awareness. And it's so much that often developers, when they're about to launch a new game, come with us wanting to work closely on a timed release of a free game just to drive user awareness of their next game. It's been an awesome thing. It's been by far the most cost-effective aspect of the Epic Game Store. Honestly, that's brilliant. I don't know if it's brilliant enough to beat Steam. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but that's smart. Allegedly, a few of the exclusivity deals have worked really well, but most of them have not. Like, they've lost potentially hundreds of millions of dollars on those, according to, I guess, depositions, if I remember right. I don't know, it's interesting, but, I mean, more competition is good, of course, and free games are good, so keep it up, Epic. So at number 4, Valve finally actually formally announced Deadlock, which has actually been killing it in terms of player numbers despite being private invite only. Valve actually broke their own rules on the Deadlock Steam store page. You have to have at least 5 screenshots of a game on your Steam page as a Steamworks partner. Now, is Valve a Steamworks partner? Valve owns Steam. Valve can do pretty much whatever they want. I mean, maybe technically yes. I don't know. They have previously broken their own rules by putting a award sticker on an image of the orange box, but when it was pointed out that they were violating their own rules, they did conform to their own rules. I will say this, as far as the size of Valve, there is a ton of people who work there. They are allegedly organized somewhat differently from a normal company, and I could see there being miscommunications between various teams that result in them not necessarily conforming to the proper practices, just as any developer might. I'm sure the people who run the Steam store are not the same people who are developing games, so it's not shocking to me. It did get a few people into a tizzy, but I guess whatever. They tend to fix it. They conform to their own rules. If you really want to think about what kind of problem that actually is, though, everybody complains about authoritarian governments, particularly for having too much power. I mean, if Valve didn't want to conform to their own rules, they don't have to. They're their own rules that they made up. That's pretty authoritarian, actually. Not that Valve is bad, they aren't. Again, they do the right thing and generally seem to fix things, but no one man should hold all that power, I guess is what I'm saying. At number 3, the country of China is pretty stoked about Black Myth: Wukong. It is actually, oddly enough, China's first high-budget, completely domestically produced game. And as you know, it is an incredibly good game that has been incredibly successful. In fact, various Chinese companies literally offered a day off or suspended work in order for their employees to be able to play the game. Other publishers like Gamera literally gave all their employees a digital deluxe version of Black Myth: Wukong. I mean, it's not shocking. It is a Chinese cultural product through and through. It's, as we've said, based on Journey to the West, a classic Chinese novel, considered beloved folklore in the country. Been adapted many times. You have seen a version of it somewhere. Some more faithful, some less faithful. But, I mean, can we just say China nailed it with this one? Game Science really created a good game here. And number 2, I'm just gonna say this one, I think is beyond weird. So to sell tickets for the Beetlejuice sequel movie that is coming out, looks good. Actually looks like they didn't trash Beetlejuice, which is nice. A lot of the time when they revisit these franchises, it looks pretty bad. I'm looking at you, Dumb and Dumber 2. Obviously Beetlejuice and Dumb and Dumber are very different things. They're both from what we might call a bygone era at this point, though. And the results with that are usually mixed. This looks pretty decent. Well, that's not video game related or weird. Why are we saying that? Because if you go into Roblox, yes, you know Roblox, the little thing where kids can make games and become employed, basically, by someone. I don't know, there's a lot of controversy there, but you can also buy Beetlejuice movie tickets in Roblox now, is what I'm getting. I got a virtual store to buy tickets to go see Beetlejuice in Roblox. I'm not sure what I think of this, if I'm completely honest. It's certainly convenient for people who are already in Roblox, but to me it has to be much more of a publicity stunt than anything else, because think about how much easier it is to just walk into a movie theater and buy tickets. I have seen one movie with sold-out screenings this year is Deadpool and Wolverine. Even movies that have made more money than that, I recall not having sold-out screenings. I think maybe they were playing in more screens per theater. I don't know, like Inside Out 2 is obviously probably a bigger priority for a movie theater than a rated R film. And I'm not knocking Beetlejuice at all, but it's weird. And finally, at number 1, if 1 million people sign a petition, a new European law could actually be on the table to enact new consumer protection rules that make it illegal to quote-unquote kill games. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look into it, what they basically mean is when a game becomes unplayable for whatever reason. That can mean it's a game that requires a server and the server gets shut down. That would be regarded as a violation of this law. The reason for that is you are buying a product that is allegedly supposed to work. The idea is you buy a movie, you buy a book, you even buy a song. Not so many people doing that nowadays, but if you did buy a song, you can pretty much keep it and use it. This is kind of one of the big problems that people talk about with digital software and digital rights management. When you buy a license to something, you don't get the ability to keep it. This is edging in on that area of complaint that I think a lot of people rightfully have pointed out as a major problem. People have maybe wrongfully decided that physical media is definitely the solution, because if you simply enacted more stringent consumer protections, we might be able to come up with a situation in which, hey, you can just buy games and have them. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't even know if this is the right law to fix that problem, but I really do hope the petition gets 1 million signatures. I would like to see this enter the process of scrutiny and work that might make it so that developers actually have to make things that if you buy it, you can play it. It's such a weird thing to say as like, oh, it'd be nice if that was how it worked. But that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.